Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. Today I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up. I know I'm supposed to upload this before my March TBR, but we're learning as we go, okay? I'm new to this, so bear with me. I quickly want to go through my February reads, what I rated them, things like that. We're going to pull out my handy dandy Goodreads. I am currently 82% into A Court of Mist and Fury. I have literally like 100 pages left, but it's not gonna happen tonight because we're literally about to leave in a little bit to go to a comedy show, a little date night type thing. I'm just accepting the fact that it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna finish Akamath tonight, which is fine. But I'm on chapter 54, and if you know, chapter 55, yeah. So I had to stop myself because chapter 55. Anyways, back to what I was supposed to be doing. Our first read, we started at the end of January and we finished February 2nd, and that was Magnolia Parks. I don't know. I kind of like hate myself for picking this book up because I had just finished Onyx Storm, and if you know, you know. That book really messed me up to the point where it wasn't until I picked up A Court of Mist and Fury that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be reading again. Like, what? And this was like right after Onyx Storm, so I kind of regret picking this up during that time because I felt like I couldn't appreciate it as much. This shit was toxic. Like, so toxic, and I knew that going into it. I watch a lot of booktubers who love this series, and I'm not gonna beat it up because I do want to read Daisy Hates. Literally reading this, I was just like, okay, cute, cool, and then I got to the end of the plot twist and I was like, wait, I knew it because I did know it. I did guess it, but I just kind of went like, oh, maybe not, and it just went over my head, and then it happened and I was like, crazy. So crazy. So looks like I gave it a 3.25. So like I said, I didn't hate it. It was just so fucking toxic. All in all, 3.25. It wasn't terrible, but I am interested. And again, I feel like I read this at the wrong time. I just read it after a masterpiece. And it was, yeah, I wasn't in the right headspace to read this. But I will be continuing the series on. I'm excited to see what this series has to offer. So 3.25. After Magnolia Parks, I picked up Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and it was so cute. But again, like, I just found myself being like, okay, that was cute, like, And again, it's literally because of Onyx Storm. I'm blaming all February books ratings and effort because of Onyx Storm. By the way, I mean, Abby Jimenez does not let me down. I feel like her books are just so fluffy and so cute, and I love them. I really liked how she's a doctor and then like he's in a small town, just like the mayor, just like whatever. And I loved their relationship. Like, that was one book that I was really like, okay, I want to know what happens, I want to know what happens, I want to know what happens. It was really cute. So that one got literally a solid 4 stars. The next one I picked was a psychological thriller, and for some reason I don't read thrillers that much. Not that I have anything against them, I'm just like, they're there, you know, they're there, and I hate myself for that. So definitely this year, my book goal for this year is to read at least 3 horror books. And this one, for some reason, when I looked it up, it said it was psychological thriller / horror. So I was like, cool, let's read it. I read The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. Literally, what the heck was that? That was nuts. Like, it was so crazy. It literally kept me on my toes and just thinking, and like there was some times where I was like, whoa, like, what did she do? What did they do? Like, what did he do? Like, wait, what? It was just gripping. Like, it really entertained me, and I really liked it. But the way it ended, I was just like, really, dude? Like, there's not more? I felt like there's supposed to be more. I think I was uncomfy because it had to do with child abuse, and I was like, listen, like, It was thought-provoking because I was like, this stuff really happens like out in the real world, so it made me kind of sad. And then I know there's a second book to it where the child is like 11 years old, and then we see like that going on. But bro, that kid is scary, and I'll probably pick that up like another time. So then after that mess, I decided to pick up a whole series. The only time I had ever read a series all the way through was last year. I read ACOTAR, like one. Usually right now I'm like, I start one and then I'll read something else, and then maybe I'll get to book 2 and then I'll read something else. Like literally last year I picked up the Assassin's Blade and I was like, I'm gonna read Thrones of Glass, and I never did, which we are reading in May, and I will be doing like a whole vlog for that, so stay tuned for that. And then before that I was like literally a child reading all the Harry Potter books, one like after the other, and then all the Twilight books. I have heard so much hype about the Dreamland Billionaire series, and listen, they were on KU, so I read them half here and then half on Kindle Unlimited. The first book, the fine print, I really liked it because it gave me the Disneyland vibes, and like our FMC was just kind of describing like her day at Dreamland, and I was like, oh my gosh. While I was reading it, I literally had on like Disneyland ambiance music in the background, and I had to put the book down. I'm a Disney adult through and through, and I don't care what you say. But I had that music on, I was reading the part where they're in Dreamland, and I got teary-eyed and I put my book down and I was like, I can't do this. It's been a while since I've been to Disneyland. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm about to pick up my Disney ears and just go, because I miss Disneyland. But anyways, getting back to this, Rowan pissed me the fuck off. I don't know why. He was just I just didn't like him. I was just like, okay. Ugh, I don't know. I didn't like him. And that's literally what hurt my rating the most, is because he was such a crybaby, I think. And then Zara, she's a badass. I love her. I really liked her. She's just so hilarious, and she really doesn't care. I got through this one and I was like, okay, cool. I gave it a 2.75. That's nuts. But then I was like, you know what? We're gonna push through, because Declan really caught my attention. There's 2 brothers. There's Declan and Callahan. And Callahan was like hilarious, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this fool, like, he's so funny. But Declan was like big macho dude, and I was so excited to see him just become the biggest freaking softie. So that's what really pushed me to continue on the series. So then book 2 was a solid 3 stars. I liked it way more than the first one. Seeing Declan become a softie was everything, but I don't know, like it really bugged me, and I'm sure that's the point, that he just didn't tell Iris like how he was feeling. Like his ego was too big, and I was like, sir, Iris is a badass. I love her. I ate this up. I think this is the first book that I had with the fake marriage trope in it, because I can't remember any other ones. This, like, fake marriage, oh, I freaking love this. I ate it up. This one too was, I was on like half KU, half reading it on here, and I don't know, I like this one a lot better. So the quote I really loved off this one was, because it amazes me how the most beautiful flower can bloom from the worst conditions. And when I read that, I was like, listen, I felt that. And lastly, we have Final Offer. This was the best one. It was literally a solid 4 stars for me. I loved the whole single mom, and then how they were childhood friends and then lovers, and then they broke up, and then now like the whole thing was for them to get back together in order for Cal to get his inheritance. Supposed to sell his grandfather's lake house. However, the FMC Alana, she has half of the estate as well. His grandfather kind of did that intentionally so that they can fall back into love with each other. Cal has an alcohol addiction problem, and so that was like one of the biggest things on here, was for him to overcome that. I loved this one so much. I literally would be like working or just cleaning the house and being like, oh my gosh, Lana and Callahan, like Lana and Cal, like I would just think about them. And then the daughter was so hilarious, like I loved her. This one actually was the best book in the series. Maybe I'm biased, I loved it. My favorite quote from this series was from this book, and because I felt that so deeply. And then I started this YouTube channel while I was reading this, so I was literally like debating, and like my boyfriend found this camera And I'm sitting here and he's like, you should do it, you should do it. And I'm like, I don't know. And then I read this part. Self-doubt always rears its ugly head at the worst times, making me wonder if I really have what it takes to be successful. Like, what? And don't get me wrong, like, it wasn't just to do this YouTube channel, it's just for a lot of other things too. It made me think, and I was just, I don't know, I really liked it. I loved it a lot. And so solid 4 stars on that one. So our next read was The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. I DNF'd this one. Last year I was so like, no, I'm not gonna DNF books. I'm gonna push through. But this year I'm like, if I don't like it, I'm gonna stop reading it. Because I don't want to put myself in a book slump. And like I was saying, Onyx Thorn put me in a slump to where I was like, I was enjoying books, but I wasn't loving it. Like, you know, we're searching for that 5-star. But I was also like, nothing's really that interesting. This book, it wasn't it. It really was not it. I think I DNF'd it 38% in. It was just really, really slow. I really liked how each chapter ends with like a recipe. Like right here. I thought that was like a cute little touch. I was listening to it on Spotify and then I was just sitting there and I was like, no, like I'm not interested. Like, I literally looked at listening and reading this book as a chore. And obviously we don't want to do that when we're reading. So I decided to DNF it. And then from there I was like, well, damn, what do I read? Like, I don't know. One of my friends is like super into dark romance. She flies through books like crazy. I had seen this one pop up on KU and I was kind of interested, so she read it first and she was like, it's pretty mild, like you'll like it. So I was like, okay, I'll read it. And I read Phantom by H.D. Carlton. I have not read a dark romance before. And it was, let me tell you, it wasn't terrible. I loved the whole 1940s scene. The 1940s were a terrible, terrible time. Women couldn't do crap, you know, the whole war was going on. But I loved that whole vibe, like the jazz and the outfits, and it was just like, I don't know, I really enjoy that era of fashion and music and stuff like that. The book starts with a playlist, and again, I love jazz music. I actually took like a jazz class back when I was getting my associate's degree, and Glenn Miller was on there, and I was like, listen, what I would do when I would read this book is I would look up 1940s music, ambiance, and it would be like you're sitting in the living room while it's playing in another room, and it was just so, I don't know, it literally felt like I was in like watching a movie. It was so good. However, the book, I gave it 3.25 stars. Here's why. We follow this like housewife basically whose husband has like a whole gambling issue. He basically like gambles all their money away and goes to the mafia to help pay his bills and stuff like that. And he also has like an alcohol issue, and the wife just finds herself being like, ew, my husband's gross. And then she sees this guy watching her. He's a stalker. It took me a while to get past that, to be like, okay, this is like, he's a stalker. Like, ew. I mean, I don't know, I thought it was gross. Here's a spoiler alert in case you don't want to know the spoiler. But he goes in her house, he touches her face, and then dips. But homegirl leaves the door open. Like, what? It was so interesting just seeing like how she just disliked her husband so much that she was so open to letting a stranger into her house. But then this fool too, like just sets eyes on her, and then he's just like in love with her, and he's like, anything for her, I love her, Genevieve. I just did not like, it was too much spice for my liking. Like, I don't mind spice in books, I really don't. I'm a romantic girly, so that should tell you right there. But I don't know, I thought it was a bit much. Like, that was the whole point of the book, because towards the end when they finally do, it was just like scene after scene after scene, and I was like, okay bro, we get it. And I didn't like it, so that hurt the rating as well. And then the ending, like, really, like, you're just gonna end off that way and not give me more context about like what happens with your family, what happens with, you know, the rest of the stuff. I just did not really enjoy that last bit of it. That's pretty much it for my February reads. I also know I gave like half-ass reviews on the beginning books, and then I gave like a little better reviews because I talked about what the book was about. Again, I'm learning, so please Alright guys, so that is all for my reads from February. I hope you guys enjoyed, and please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more bookish videos and for my March reads and reviews. Wherever you are, I hope you have a lovely day or night, and I will see you next time. Bye!